Hello, everyone. Welcome in to season 3 of our initiative spotlights here within USG. If you've seen an installment before or you haven't, I want to say welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us today. In these, I'm going to be your host, Alex Gould. I'm the Vice President of Public Relations for USG. And as much as possible, I'm going to be bringing on guests from USG to talk about everything going on with us and some key initiatives within the organization. And I have a dear friend, very special guest with us today, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Hunter Stecko. I'm the president of the USG. Yes, very good friends with my dear vice president, Alex. So just a little bit about myself. Before I was in this role, I was the vice president of finance for USG, a treasurer, and then a freshman representative. I've worked with multiple committees, the academic affairs committee in addition to the finance committee, and I've popped in once or twice on Alex's committee's meetings, but I've never necessarily been a formal member of that committee. So that's kind of a little bit about my background. I'm a fourth year electrical engineering and computer science major. Outside of all of this, you might see me around campus being the head TA for one of the main engineering courses.
Love it. Thank you, Hunter, for the introduction. And you still have a year to come and see the wondrousness of PR. Anyways, though, okay, let's talk about it. I want to hear, as the president, I'm sure you have a lot to juggle and a lot you want to get done. So I'm interested in what are some of the key initiatives or focuses of your presidency? What do you really want those to be?
So, Alex, one of the things that is really interesting about this year is all of these different things. When you and I were elected, we didn't necessarily know the challenges that we were going to be facing. That was one of the things that really kind of struck us. So as one of the main priorities that I had coming into the role, and one of the main priorities that we all share, is managing the COVID response as much as we possibly can. Also planning for the spring semester. That's a big initiative that's going to be on my plate. But in addition to that, some of the things that came up later are really some of the things that I now want to emphasize. So supporting survivors of sexual assault and reducing sexual assault on our campus. So working on reforming Title IX, making sure that mental health resources are available for those who are going through the process, making sure that there is a survivor support network, mostly just a group of individuals who have been survivors moderated by a mental health professional. Also, improving community relations with East Cleveland. This is something that's very dear to my heart. I have formed a relationship with many of the residents of East Cleveland, so that's something that's very, very important to me. Also, supporting our Black students and other students of color who have been treated not so well on campus in the past by different individuals, and making sure that that doesn't happen. It's not really the spirit of this campus. It's not the underlying principles that we are founded on as an institution. So making sure that when that happens and when what does exist is remedied. Also managing and directing this new task force that's being established by the students and administration to work together on different issues related to sexual misconduct, sexual assault, the Black student experiences, and racial inclusion on campus. Also, kind of more immediately, two of the big things that we're working on are making sure that campus safety for the upcoming debate is going to be of a high degree, and making sure that students aren't overly burdened by the presence of that debate, trying to get students involved if we can, and really just, again, managing the COVID response through this time.
Awesome. Thank you, Hunter. It's really interesting, as you said before. We came in with a set of goals that we thought we were kind of going to head towards and push for, and then really we had to take a 180. There are more important issues right now in the world and on this campus, and we need to fight for equity and fight for those issues.
One of the things that I really, really want to get done, if we actually have the time and bandwidth to do it, is one of the things that I really am passionate about is getting an itemized breakdown of what goes into our tuition. I know that there are a lot of students on this campus that would like to see, what does my tuition actually pay for? I am one of those. Also, and through all this time, one of the things that I think is going to be the most important is making sure that we open communication with the student body and other student leaders to make sure that that student voice is not being lost amidst all of this, all of these different issues that we're dealing with during a pandemic. It's just, we need to make sure that that communication is there. And maybe if we get time at the end, maybe we can go back and work on some of those initiatives that I at least would have liked to have seen.
Yeah, exactly. And I know, as you said about the communication piece, look, that's a huge part of my job, something I care about a ton. And I know we're excited to start some office hours soon, be able to talk to students one-on-one, keep on sending out emails and trying to connect with everyone.
Yep.
But anyways, I know we've talked a lot about the external issues. Now you also have to focus on USG internally since you're leading USG. So I'm kind of interested in what you really expect of our organization as a whole, and even our members as a group this year.
Yeah. I mean, one of the big things, first and foremost, that I expect is patience as an organization with the student body and the student body reciprocally, and also between our organization and the administration. It's a pandemic. Everyone is trying to figure their way through. And nobody really has answers to these questions. I think a lot of the time we're kind of expecting that the administration has answers to our questions. Because a lot of the time when we're asking about things like shuttle services, they do have answers to our questions that are immediately there. How do you deal with sexual assault? How do you deal with a pandemic that nobody's ever been through before? These are questions that no one's really been able to answer satisfactorily in the past. So I think patience is really going to be one of the big things that I expect. And patience, but also making sure that we're always making progress, because just because we're being patient with folks as they try to figure things out doesn't mean that progress stalls. On the contrary, that just means that we're extending a hand of friendship. Always honesty and transparency, that is always something that we need with one another. And I think sometimes we try to sugarcoat things to make them seem as though things are going okay, when I don't think that we can do that this year. I think we need to be honest and transparent with one another and just tell each other like it is, even if it ruffles some feathers. And that's one of the things that I expect. I expect us to listen, to be actually cognizant of what other people are saying, to be tolerant, and then ultimately to achieve our goals. Our organization needs to be action oriented. We need to get things done.
I like it. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what this year is. And I know you'll do a great job of making sure all those things you just said, that we do follow them and you push for those. So I'm excited about it. And one last question before we end today. I always like to end these with a more looking back, a reflective question. So my question for you here is, you've been in USG for 3 years. You're a most senior exec member. Talk to me about your proudest accomplishment in your time. And I know there's a lot to choose from and a lot of time in it. So I'm interested in just one. Just narrow it down to one for me.
He's calling me old. That's what he's doing. He's calling me old.
I do it all the time. I just poke fun at him. Old.
So I would say there's really no question for me. I think the thing that I'm most proud of is the emergency fund. And that's not the reason why I'm proud of that is not because that's me thing. That's because that was truly our organization, especially the finance committee, especially the SEC allocations committee, especially Joey Cass. But that was the thing where we were able to work together as a group to help people through a particularly challenging time. You should have read some of the stories, Alex. Some of the stories that some of our students had going through, man, really impactful.
Really?
And after reading some of those stories, I can say without a doubt that is by far the thing that I'm most proud of on our collective behalf.
You're helping change people's lives for the better in a really tough time through that fund.
Us, this group, hopefully. And of course, we always make mistakes, and we have things that we always need to improve upon. And I think that that's one of the things that I expect from this group as well, is a good measure of humility. We're not always going to get it right, and humility from everyone. We're not always right.
Nobody's perfect, but as you said, humility, trying to grow.
Amen.
I like it, Hunter. Thank you so much for coming on. Before we go, can I get a little virtual fist bump from you as a way to say goodbye?
Hey, yeah, here we go. Yes. All right, there we go.
I didn't tell him in front. I'm like, Hunter's not going to want to do this. He might not like this, so I'm not going to warn him, but I will do it. So thank you for playing along with me. I appreciate it.
Sure thing.
All right. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening to the First Initiative Spotlight. I'll be back with you soon for the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.